off the map. It is a miracle of history that Israel survived. But because her very life was at stake, the Israelis fought like crazy and defeated the 5 nations that came against them. And as a result of that, they captured a lot more territory than had ever been given to them. And as a result of that, the amount of land available to the Palestinians considerably shrunk. Had they embraced partition, the Palestinians would be in a totally different place today. The tragedy has been that neither side, neither Jews nor Palestinians, have been prepared to live in a situation where yielding and the olive branch is required for peace to exist. You'll watch marriages go under for the very same reason. You watch businesses, you watch all over the world. When men and women go to war, somebody has to lose. And as a result of that, Israel expanded her territory. The Palestinians lost some of theirs, and then they boiled. Nasser stockpiled weapons then for years, and he said very clearly, the obliteration of Israel from the map of the Middle East is my goal. In 1962, watching the build-up of weapons around them, Israel appealed to President Kennedy, and President Kennedy and following presidents made the decision that they would attempt to redress the balance of power by supplying arms to Israel. And in 1967, Israel made a decision that rather than wait for the fateful day, they would go to war. They attacked the nations around them in a preemptive strike and took everything in Israel. They just took the lot. Now, Israel today, let's bring it to this point. Israel today, there has been an attempt to find a pathway to creating a place for the Palestinians to live. The problem, of course, is that every time the Palestinians have a place to work from, their tendency is to build terrorist cells and then continually go to war against Israel, a war of terror and of attrition, in an attempt to ultimately see Israel collapse and be removed. It has taken a lot of time, a lot of work to get the Palestinians even theoretically to agree that Israel has a right to exist. And at the moment, the war that we see is simply a result of a never-ending, boiling dispute over the issue of land. Now, I'm going to close by reading this one passage from the Bible. What should the attitude of us be to the issue of Israel, Jerusalem, the Jews, the Palestinians, and the Muslim threat that surrounds them? One thing is we need to recognise how irresolvable this will ever be without goodwill and without a heart, I'd say the heart that Jesus Christ would bring to the situation. Listen to what the Bible says. Here is a war message, God's message concerning Israel. God's decree. The very God who threw the skies into space, set the earth on a firm foundation, and breathed his own life into men and women. Watch for this. I'm about to turn Jerusalem into a cup of strong drink that will have the people who have set siege to Judah and Jerusalem staggering in a drunken stupor. On the big day, I'll turn Jerusalem into a huge stone, blocking the way for everyone. All who try to lift it will rupture themselves. All the pagan nations will come together and try to get rid of it. Zechariah presents us with this sad picture of a world in conflict. No wonder the Bible says, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. There is no other resolution than that in some way a new spirit, a new heart comes into the peoples involved in this conflict. It is so understandable why both sides cry out for a homeland. Everybody wants a homeland. The sad thing is that the Muslim nations surrounding Israel are not even willing to allow many of the Palestinians to emigrate into their own community. That in itself has been a stumbling block. But you and I need to understand that we are looking at one of the great conflicts of history. Much of it flows out of religious misunderstanding. The tragedy is God's desire to bless, and the human heart determined to attempt to have one's own way and to rule by might does nothing but bring grief. How do we resolve it? I don't believe there is a resolution outside of some gracious act of God in the hearts of people. And it may be today that you might recognise that you too need that same gracious action at work in you. This very war that divides Arab, Palestinian and Jew can wreck a marriage, can destroy a home, can bring churches undone and undo the very fabric of a nation. And every one of us need today to simply say, Lord, do something in me.